What makes the ReadMe software package different? The 27 ReadMe lessons are already written and ready to use. No learning how to use new technologies, and so no excess preparation time for busy teachers. The software was designed by teachers for students from years 5 through to year 9. This software can be used by all teachers, whether they possess few IT skills or are proficient. In fact, templates can be downloaded from the ReadMe website for teachers who wish to add their own resources, thereby giving you a degree of ownership of the lesson. There are 4 sections in this software. The blue sections, the purple section is your poetry, and the red section, your language lessons. And finally, in the green section, you have your text types. The interactive lessons are supported by 131 blackline masters, which are fully reproducible. If you click here, you will see the student workbook. These student worksheets allow for effective teacher assessment of the skills taught. The lesson content is drawn from subjects across the curriculum. ReadMe is also recommended as a home tutoring literacy package, and an answer booklet is provided for this purpose to assist the busy parent. If you wish to view the answer booklet, simply click on the front page. The program begins with the basic rules of grammar, which can be useful for upper primary and junior secondary. More challenging lessons can be found in the language and text type lessons. Audio has been added to the grammar to assist ESL students. You will notice when I press on the first lesson, the nouns and adjectives, you will see a small icon, the ReadMe icon, which tells you what lesson you are actually in at the time. Each lesson comes up with this title page, so you can select either to go to the actual lesson. You can select an individual BLM if you wish, or worksheet, or there are games at the end of each lesson that you might like to choose with your students. So we will select the lesson for nouns and adjectives. We'll start with this lesson to show a lot of the interactive activities within the entire program. Always the title page explains what the lesson is going to be about, the content involved. We start with common nouns and an explanation of what a common noun is and an example. Many of the lessons are self-correcting, like with this page. We're instructed to click on nouns in the paragraph below. We have the audio to help us as well.
We went to the park for a picnic. While Nan was getting lunch ready, we played cricket. We were having fun until the ball was hit into the river.
If we try and click on anything that is not a common noun, nothing will happen. We move to proper nouns. Again, this is self-correcting. We have to click on the proper nouns which haven't been capitalised. This is our first student worksheet. This allows for assessment of the skills taught. Students can add their answers. We now move to collective nouns, and this is a drag and drop exercise. Again, it is self-correcting. We've got the audio again to help us.
A fleet of trawlers chased a school of prawns.
If we put in the wrong word, it simply bounces back. We have a noun overview. We're now going to test whether we know what the common nouns, proper nouns, collective nouns and abstract nouns are. It is self-correcting as well. Again, if you put it in the wrong spot, it will bounce back. Adjectives. Adjectives always describe a noun. That's why the adjectives were placed in the same lesson as our nouns. We have an explanation of what an adjective is and an example. Then we're asked to write a suitable adjective into the space provided. If we wish to change it, we simply click on the eraser. That's only part of this lesson. Many lessons end with a game. So if we go back to our menu, you'll see different types of shooting games that you can play, or an alphabet game. For this example, we're going to choose common nouns. Select next. In this case, we're going to choose 1 minute easy. You'll notice that there's a score at the top, on the side at the bottom. We simply click on the common nouns. If we click on something that isn't a common noun, our score will go backwards. At the end of the minute, a score will come up. This is highly competitive and students love this activity. The beauty of this is that they'll actually use the learnt knowledge and so are enhancing their learning while they're having fun. There are other games which we will show you later in this presentation. Now I will show you some of the features and content from some of the other lessons. Each lesson gradually builds on learning platforms. As you advance through the lessons, there is revision of prior learning to reinforce and consolidate outcomes. Let's have a look at verbs and adverbs. As before, we have a title page, followed by an explanation and an example. And here we have to match each of the words below with one of similar meaning. There are always simple instructions to follow with each lesson. This is self-correcting. If you place the wrong word on the line, it will simply bounce back. Next, this section we have verb categories. We have saying, action, feeling and thinking verbs. We have to choose the words from the word list and place them in the appropriate boxes. Saying verbs would be whispered. Action words like dived. Feeling verbs envied. Or thinking verbs like love. Considered. Here we have verb categories. We have a word list of verbs, and we have to place them in each of the boxes. The saying verbs, action, feeling, and thinking verbs. Saying verbs like whispered. Action verbs, dived. Feeling verbs, envied. And thinking verbs, imagined. If we put the wrong one in the box, it will explode and go back into the word list. We have student worksheets throughout all the lessons. In this worksheet, students are asked to identify the verbs in the passage. Then they have to write them into the box below. Now let's have a look at some of the tense exercise. This is a useful lesson for spelling exercises and for ESL students. We have an explanation of the tenses.